and welcome back to this week's Time Out. We're in a little bit of a different location this week due to graduations going on in the arena. But I'd like to welcome our guests, Neil Lynch from AINA, Mike Murray, head coach of NUIG Mystics, and Ian Lynch, assistant coach on the women's IT Carlow basketball team, and of course player on their men's Division 1 team. So thanks a million, guys, for joining us.
Good to see you.
To start off this week, actually, we have a very big coaching announcement to kick off the show. So a couple of weeks ago, you might have noticed that we were advertising for an Ireland under-17 women's coach, a head coach, and that has been announced right now. In fact, Liam Cullity has been assigned the head coach for next year for the Ireland under-17 women's team. So Mike, that's a great appointment, isn't it? He's coming back, obviously his experience at international level already, so big news.
Yeah, absolutely. It's following on from the big success during the summer from Tommy O'Mahony's reign with the girls. I'm sure Liam is going to do a great job following on from his head coaching days 2016. So they ended up in 8th, I think, and they lost to Germany by a point only. So Germany would be a force within that group. So he's going to do a really good job, I think.
Yeah, of course, we all know the perils of Germany. We had them already this year in the final, but a huge role for him as well to come back into the development side. As you mentioned, 2 years ago he was the under-18 women's, and now he's going to be developing towards the under-18, which will be the under-18 2019 team.
19, yeah. Well, coming from the Castle Islands, Mary's Castle Island background, they always had a good female group and men's team and a great club structure down there. So Liam will be well used to bringing that structure forward. Plus, the calibre of players that are coming through in the girls' game right now, it is definitely increased. You know, we see it within the Super League, what the girls that have come through this year from the 18s last year that are now playing within Super League. So he has a lot of calibre to pick from to actually bring his team forward. So yeah, it's going to be a great appointment for him. And
of course you've coached against him a few times as well when he was with Tralee Imperials, when he was winning the league there with them.
Yeah, he coached against him a good few times. He's a very qualified coach, and yeah, I'm sure he'll do a great job. Also, a lot of things with these coaches, they usually have a great team behind them. Yeah. As of this year, the team actually makes the whole program succeed. So I'm sure Liam will get a good team to back him up as well and bring it forward.
Yeah, perfect. So we wish Liam the very best of luck with that appointment. It is a 1-year appointment as the Ireland under-17 women's head coach. So we will be watching them over the coming 12 months to see how they progress. So best of luck with that, Liam, and congrats again from everyone here at Basketball Ireland, and I'm sure indeed across the community in the country. But looking back at the weekend that was, now we're going to go back to our regular format of the show. We had a crazy busy weekend. Obviously it was a bank holiday weekend, Halloween weekend, and we had double headers really across the men's Super League and the men's Division 1. And we're going to start off with the men's Super League. And we're going to start with probably one of the big upsets again of the weekend. They've done it 2 weeks in a row now, so they're probably going to tell me it's not an upset at all. DCU Saints overcame Griffith College Swords Thunder on Monday in a very, very close game over in the Alsa again. Neil, I'm going to come to you on this. That's a huge win for DCU. Joey Boylan is by far the happiest man in Ireland at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Probably again had a great game. What, 30 in the game? I think he's averaging that now.
32.
32, yeah. He's a matchup nightmare, really. You can take guys out to the guard and post them up. I don't think Vincent's were seeing it as an upset after getting a win in the National Cup. But I'd say Thunder are definitely feeling that one and are looking to improve on it next week.
Yeah, of course, DCU wasn't their only game of the weekend. They fell to a defeat on Saturday evening against UCD Marion, and I will be murdered if I don't say Conor Meany, one of the top scorers of that game. I'd say he's raging, he's not on the show now, but 26 points for Meany, and of course Mike Garrow was top scorer there with 27. DCU Saints, D Proby's top scored with 30. So as you mentioned, even whether they're up or down, he's just an unstoppable force.
Yeah, he's getting his points, yeah. There's not many people in the league that are able to take him out and in with his size and strength, so he's definitely getting it every week.
Yeah, and looking at another game of the weekend, indeed, Garvey's Tralee Warriors went top of the table. Now, I do need to point out they're top of the table because they have a game in hand, or UC Marion have a game on hand. They both have just one loss, but Tralee are top of the table by March. They haven't lost a game since that UCC Demons upset in the very first game of the season, in fact. And we just have a couple of highlights here from their win over Clester in the IWA in Clontarf at the weekend.
Anytime you go on the road and play well, and then win on top of that, it's even a bigger bonus. But I thought for 3 quarters we played pretty good. We kind of got lost in that first quarter, and our defense wasn't anywhere to be found. But we kind of tightened things up the second, third, and fourth quarter, and we did a better job defensively, and the game kind of went our way. So probably it wasn't. The score is not indicative of how close the game was, but Clester's been playing very well. We felt like that they're as good as anybody in the league right now, and so we feel good about this result.
And as you heard there, that was head coach Mark Burnson talking about their game against Clester. But looking at that game, I know Aina, of course, played them on the bank holiday Monday. But looking at the Clester game first, it was really a game where, from my point of view anyway, Trey Pemberton really, his season took off. He, the fourth quarter, he was an absolute leader on the court. Him and Fergus O'Sullivan were both unstoppable in the fourth, really pulled ahead of Clester. Like, Trey's a fabulous player to watch.
Yeah, he's nearly unstoppable from trees. If you leave him open for a second, his shot's really quick. So, and I think even with teams knowing him from last year as well, we're still finding it difficult to guard him, even though we know he likes to shoot the three, but can't get into the paint, and that's where he hurts it from. And then when he dishes it out to the lads, like as I said, Fergus O'Sullivan, again, he'll hit the three as well on you. So that's where they're really getting their points with the big lads. They can attack the middle and then kick it out to the shooters.
Yeah, and there was a big win for Tralee as well on the road. They had a good couple of wins at home since that Demons game, and obviously they had a couple of more wins on the road, but maybe not as far away up in Galway. A huge win to travel up to Clester late on a Saturday evening and get that win there in the IWA.
Yeah, very, very tough to do. Their travel every week, whenever they're travelling away, 3.5 hour journey to most places.
Yeah.
And then coming back, we had them on the Monday. They only had a day's recovery, and then they're a good solid team. They have the rotation in. They have the lads who can shoot the ball, and then Trey is leading the way now. He's starting maybe a little bit slow, but now he's really coming into the season now. They're doing very well. He's
definitely coming into the season, as you guys found out on Monday. A much tighter game there down in the complex. How did you find it? Obviously Garcia will give out to me if I don't say that he had a lot of points as well. He had over 20 as well. Aidan Dunn was massive for you guys as well. But it's always tough to go down to Tralee. We say it all the time, but from a player's point of view, how was that? They've sold out on Bank Holiday Monday.
Yeah, it's very tough. Really, once they get the crowd into it, they're feeding off the energy, which nearly any team would do with that crowd. Garvey gets his points. He's coming into the season now. He started slow as well, but when the crowd got into it, that's when Tralee really took off in the game.
Yeah, and just to look at some other games around the Men's Super League, as we said, it was a very very busy weekend. So Black Amber Temple Oak had a double win. They were on the road to Cubs, just up the road really, in Greendale, and they also had a home win against Mary on Bank Holiday Monday, and then Moy Cullen also had a home win against Cubs. But moving into the Women's Super League, and this time we're going to start with one of the closest games of the weekend. DCU Mercy welcomed Courtyard Liffey Celtics on Sunday into DCU, Mike, and it was an absolute cracker. The fourth quarter in particular, that game is still available on our Facebook page, by the way, if you want to just click onto videos. But the fourth quarter in particular, you couldn't call it. It was so close. Jasmine Boone, obviously 30-point game, which is absolutely phenomenal, particularly with her size when you're going up against the likes of Rachel Housden's inside. But fantastic win for Liffey Celtics, and it's teeing up a really tasty cup clash between the two of them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Jasmine was unbelievable. Her offensive rebounding was phenomenal, as in all of their team. In fairness, they played really super defense. They got some key turnovers when they needed, and they were able to hit the big shots. Her offensive rebound, where she went back and got put to the line straight away, was the clincher.
Yeah.
They just dug in. I think they wanted it maybe a bit more. I know that DCU wanted it, but it's always down to the big guys to actually step up, and Jasmine really stepped up the last day, definitely. Yeah, she did a really good job.
And you guys in Carlow have played Met DCU obviously already just a couple of weeks ago you were on the road to them as well. Like they're a tough team to play against as well. Like Liffey Celtics wouldn't have been taking that lightly at all. And you would have matched up quite well with DCU. How did you find them?
Yeah, look, they're a very experienced team. They've got Mark Ingle there, brilliant coach. Like, he's going to have them well run. We know exactly who they have because, as I said, they're an experienced team. They've got a lot of players that have played there a long time. And then the likes of, say, Rachel Hutchinson, she's a matchup nightmare because her rebounding is phenomenal, as everyone saw during the summer as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're a tough team to go down and play.
Yeah, and obviously moving over to yourselves then, NUIG Mystics. It's been a tough while start to the season for you guys, but like you're running the top teams in the league so close. Obviously you had Wildcats there at the weekend, but you've already met Glanmire. You were down in Brunel, lost out by a point. You obviously went to overtime against Carlow. Like, what's going on in the camp? How are you all feeling? How's it?
It's very positive. It's a difficult start, yeah, absolutely. It's a tough start because we haven't got a win yet, but we also really haven't had a starting team, a full team, a lot of the games. So the girls are just getting to know. It's practically a brand new team. It's not excuses here now.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
But it is practically a new team. It's great. They're a bunch of very young, eager players that want to work really hard. Their fitness levels are getting up there. We play a tenacious game, and I think they're just beginning to get to know what is expected of them. So it is getting there. I know we haven't got the W, but we will. I firmly believe we will. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, and of course, like despite maybe not getting the W yet, like one of your players is like leading the stats in a lot of different areas, like Ciara Gaines.
Yeah,
Ciara. Ciara Gaines. Yeah. Like, she's been phenomenal for you.
Yeah, she's doing really well. She's settled in. She's a team player as well. And no more than them all. In fairness, Ciara, yes, she's hitting the points for us, but we have the likes of Deja's the Sports Changes Life girl, Deja Bullock, and she's doing a tremendous job for us as well. And then we have the younger girls that have actually stepped in. It's their first time playing Super League, you know. Like Maggie Byrne was there last year.
Yeah.
We have Dana Finn that's just stepped in this year. Ali Blaney, Anya McDonough's back. You know, and Hannah is there this year. So we have a nice balance. We do have a nice balance. It's just getting that balance to work. It will get there, but hasn't got there just yet.
And how were Wildcats as opponents? Like, it's one of the only teams nearly now in the Women's Super League I haven't seen yet this year. Like Kathy Cavan had a huge game for them against you. How are they across the board though? How did you find them?
Across the board, they have a good balance on their team. They're very big. They're on the boards. They're very strong. Now, as it happened, we actually did quite well on the boards against them. They have a very strong inside game. They have 3 girls, 6'1" plus, I guess, inside, and then their guards did a really good job, and they had a good inside-out game. But we matched up really well. We came back. We had a lull in the game, and we came back towards fourth quarter. Ended up winning the fourth quarter, I think 21-9 or something like that,
wow.
22-9. But it was a bit too late. But that's just a bit of experience too, I think.
Yeah. Well, we'll be looking at some of your other opponents when we go to the preview for this weekend. But just looking at some of the other results from the weekend, IT Carlow basketball were away to Pyreble Colester, and the home team Colester came out on top in that game. You can see that video also on our Facebook page with the double header over in Colester. And Ambassador UCC Glanmire maintained their winning run as well. They had a big win at home against Portlaoise Panthers. But moving over to the men's Division 1, and we're going to start with one of the big games of the weekend down in Cork, a big Cork derby. Father Matthews and Ballincollig went head to head on Sunday. A very interesting clash, I suppose. Ballincollig had been unbeaten until that game. Father Matthews, just in case you didn't see the result, Father Matthews came out the winners of that game. But Ballincollig had obviously played against you guys the day before in Carlow. Not to remind you of that. Where they took the win against you on the road, and then came back and played against a very, very experienced Father Matthews team. They have a very athletic American in who's like shooting the lights out. Like, that's a massive win for Father Matthews, and a tough one to take, I'd say, for Ballincollig maybe.
Absolutely massive. Like, when I saw the result, I was a bit shocked as well, like, from previously playing them on the Saturday. but like I'd say Kieran and Ronan are feeling that loss because local game against another Cork team. So, but like, hey, as you said, Father Matthews have gotten in some guys like Luke O'Mahony's gone down there, played underage international. Like Sean Cantwell, he's still there. Like they've got a good team down there. I think they're the ones to kind of look out for in the league this year.
Yeah, I don't think it was as much of I don't think it was seen as a surprise really across the division. The Cork derbies are going to be ones that people are going to be watching very, very closely, and with Neptune currently still unbeaten as well, so people will be interested for those clashes against Ballincollig and Father Matthews. But having played Ballincollig, you know, are you now even more worried about Father Matthews?
Yeah, a little bit. Like we were kind of looking top three, Killorglin, Neptune, Ballincollig, and we were like, okay, it's going to be a good game then against everyone else in the league. But now we see that they've come out with that win. Yeah, they're definitely on the list now to look out for.
Well, speaking of Killorglin, they are still unbeaten this week. So now we are down to 2 teams unbeaten in the men's Division 1. Keene Super Value Killorglin, should I say, and Neptune, as we mentioned. Killorglin with 2 big wins against LIT Celtics. Matt St. Moore top scoring with 33 for LIT, and Killorglin went on to overcome Dublin Lions the next day as well. Dublin Lions still chasing their first win in the division. But moving up to Donegal, LYIT Donegal had an absolutely massive weekend, particularly their first game. They had a 1-point win against Scots Lakers St. Paul's Killarney, 76-75 I think it finished up, and then went on the next day to overcome EJ Sligo All-Stars. We need to talk about Chaz Wattler here as well, because absolutely phenomenal scoring for them. I think he was around the 30 mark against St. Paul's Killarney, and then he had 38 against Sligo the next day. Like Niall has a serious setup there, and it's very hard to beat them at home, which they're proving. Yeah,
Chaz, he is that I've seen anyway this season, most athletic player. He's so quick. He just gets to the basket, and he gets everyone involved with them, because he's such a threat of going to the basket that everyone just wants to collapse in on him, and he's just kicking it out, getting shooters open. Yeah, he's playing phenomenal. Yeah, but it's a tough ask really to go up there now, because you know Father Matthews dropped a game against them up there as well, so they're nearly becoming the Tralee of the. I don't want to try not to jinx them here now, but you know, like they're really proving that they're defending their home court like impeccably, really. Yeah, it's that long trip as well. Like for Tralee, they've got that advantage as well. Yeah. So yeah, that long trip, it's always going to hamper teams going up there. They're playing phenomenal. What are they now at home? Are they They've only got 1 loss at home. Or something as far like that. As I know. Yeah. Yeah, it's tough to go up there. Like Niall's doing a great job up there as well. Yeah, so. And of course, they're not the only team with 2 games. We've already spoken briefly about your clash with Ballincollig, but you were on the road then the next day over to Titans, and you got a big win there up in Galway. But what I'd like to talk about here, I suppose, is Keegan Ryan for Titans. While they might not have got the win, Keegan Ryan is really proving to be one of the standout stars in the men's Division 1 this year, across rebounding and top scoring. How did you find playing against him? Like he's a big body. Like he's just inside. The second he gets it in down low, like I'd say double teams are coming at him from every game, because he had a big game the day before us as well, and they got a win there as well. Yeah. So, and he put up, I think it was 30 again. So yeah, he's the one to watch out for them anyway. Other than that, like they're just playing hard. That's it. Like I know they're struggling at the moment, but if they keep with him anyway, they'll get some results, and they'll get some close games. Yeah, most definitely he is one to watch, and if you're ever knocking around Galway, definitely a Titans game is one to pick up just to see what he's doing on the court indeed. But looking at some other games across the weekend, as usual, we won't get to all of them. There are so many, of course, in the men's Division 1. But Neptune, as we mentioned, still unbeaten, but nearly had a stumble at the hands of Portlaoise Panthers last weekend. Neptune just pulling it out of the bag at the very end, but Portlaoise's American Tim Stewart proving to be a thorn in the side of the Neptune defence. And Ulster University Elks reversed their Hula Hoops National Cup result from the weekend previous, when they welcomed Paris Texas Kilkenny up to UUJ, and they took the win there. So some interesting results across the league. Much like the Men's Super League, it still is quite wide open, and there could be wins got anywhere. But moving on to Women's Division 1, Mike, I'm going to swing over to you on this one. We had 2 games at the weekend. UL Huskies and Marble City Hawks is what I'm going to start with.
because it was a huge win for Marble City Hawks on the road. Huskies have been dominating, you might say, even though it's very early stages in the Women's Division 1. They've only 3, maybe 4 games, some of them played. But a huge win on the road for Hawks.
Absolutely, yeah. Kilkenny are one of those dogged teams that actually just keep going. Between Katie Fox and Kelly O'Halloran, they're both 2 really good players. But the rest of the girls, they're the type of team that they, with the buzz that they get with the team, they fight as a team and they play as a team, very much as a team. We're only up 2 years from D1, so we would have had some bangers with them as well, Becky. You know, and they were always good games. They always were very tenacious, and they deserve to be where they are, in fairness, because they're putting a lot of work into their club down there. I know, because you see a lot of the stuff that they do, not just on the floor, but they actually deserve to be doing what they're doing. So it's great to see them getting away wins like that. But that league is wide open.
I was just going to say that, especially with Griffith coming in as well. They obviously got a big win at home, which we're going to talk about next. But across the board, it's wide open, because Elks having gotten some wins. Father Matthews obviously unbeaten still. Huskies are doing extremely well. Obviously, just that little stumble there, but it's a very hard one to call, isn't it? It
really is. Like Griffith Thunder, they had a big win at the weekend, and they're still awaiting their Spanish player to come in. She's on the 90-day rule seemingly, so they're awaiting that new player to come in. And that's going to add a lot to their team, which is already very strong. Their American is the top scorer in the league
Kelsey
right
is
now.
Ridiculous.
Kelsey is, she's a serious player. So you have that, and then you have the likes of Matthews, who have such a deep bench. And again, deserve to be where they are. They've got like a lot of quality, mature players, and that are doing a really, really good job. They deserve to be where they are as well. But then you have the rest of the teams, like the Elks, that are, you can't take for granted. You can't take any of them for granted, because they all have the players that are actually capable of coming and getting a W against you, or playing a really tough game against you. So none of the games can be taken for granted, like the Kilkenny Limerick game. You know, that's the way it is. I'm sure Limerick were not expecting, but they wanted that win.
They would have fancied it.
They would have fancied it. And for Kilkenny to come away with that was a really big one. So I think that's the way that league is going to be. The one that I would be looking at would be Thunder, because with their extra player coming in, and they do have that quality, they do have that extra little bit. You know, and it is early days. It's very much early days. And
not forgetting, of course, Meteors as well, who were off the weekend. They've just come down from Super League. You would have clashed with them a good bit last year as well. So, and we had Emer Martin on the show last week, I think it was. Like, there's so much in the Division 1, really.
There absolutely is, and
so much talent as well.
Meteors were a very talented team, and coming down, they had that experience of coming down from Super League. They would also be at that level where they know what that step up is and what's required. And that's a huge thing with the D1, because you have the Northeast team or the Northwest team, which is, you know, it's a team that's come in. They have a very talented American player with them. But they haven't actually played at that level before. And to get to that level, sometimes it takes that season or another season or a bit of conditioning to actually get them to the level where they need to be. It's a learning process, but it's early days. It really is. It's early days in the season. And that game that we're speaking about, Griffith College Stores Thunder winning out against Fab Plus Northwest actually at the weekend in their first home game, and obviously their first home win as a result. Huge win for them. They were only up by 6 at half time, and they ended up winning out 96-48. So just chatting with the Northwest coach to obviously see what had happened, he mentioned that one of their cars broke down on the way to the game in Dublin, and they were actually down by 4 players. So obviously very, very tired legs in the third and fourth quarter, especially when you're chasing Kelsey Carey up the court. Absolutely. You know, going in with 6 players and going in against Thunder, that's a big ask. It's a really big ask. Their player Mackenzie Barud, she's playing extremely well for them, and that calibre of player will bring that whole club forward as well, because they'll see that that's what they have to achieve as such, you know. So having a girl of that calibre playing with them, it's definitely going to improve them. But I think it's going to take them a good bit of the season to actually get through that sort of initial period of learning the actual D1 game as such.
Yeah, well, they've had a very rough couple of weeks into the start of the Women's Division 1. They haven't had a break yet, whereas a lot of the other teams have had a weekend off, so they'll be relishing their weekend off, which is coming this weekend. So I'm sure they'll get recharged after that game last weekend. But moving on to this coming weekend now, another busy weekend, thankfully not as crazy as last weekend. But before we go into the leagues, it is, of course, the first weekend of November, which can only mean one thing, and that is the Galway Masters. So kicking off on Friday this year, it's going to run Friday, Saturday and Sunday with free admission into the Kingfisher in NUI Galway. And Mike is here to tell us what is in store. So you've a lot of teams, Mike.
Yeah, I got to speak quick now.
We've
38 teams this year.
38 teams, that's incredible.
Teams from all over Europe, Sweden, Italy, Venice, England, Scotland, Wales.
I think I saw France in there somewhere as well. Yeah.
The States, 2 from the States. So it really is. It's grown to where it can't really grow much more, hopefully. But this year we have over 40s men and women.
Wow.
Over 50s men and women, and this year we have an initial over 60s men's as well.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so it really is. It's great. We all of us guys know each other at this stage, so we travel around to different tournaments.
Okay.
But ours would be pretty much one of the biggest ones around now at this stage. But it's seen as a fun venue as well, so the whole social thing is massive because
especially some of the costumes on the Saturday night. We can't wait to hear what you're wearing this year.
It's not fancy dress this year, it's a regular dress. But last year the Venice boys all arrived in like the whole team dressed up in pretty serious outfits. But yeah, it's a fun weekend. It's actually, the basketball is really good.
Yeah, it's
the basketball, because you've got a lot of talented guys that are still wanting to play, and some of them still playing the likes of D1 or whatever, our local league, and it's great. We get a lot of help from the referees, so the referees help us out, so a lot of them do it voluntarily, as do the table officials, and we it's for charity.
I was just going to say, who's your nominated charity this year?
This year it's called Aoife's Clown Doctors. So basically Aoife's Clown Doctors they're actors who dress up as clowns, and they go into the hospitals, into the peds wards, and they go in with the 6 kids, and they do balloon making and face painting and all that kind of stuff. So it was actually one of our players that plays with Galway, his niece unfortunately died and of leukemia a few years ago, and their mom and dad, she used to get great fund from these guys coming into the hospital, so they lost their funding. And as a result, her parents decided that they would go ahead and try and help them out. So we decided this year, it's always usually a charity that's close to us that we use. So we've done community things. So we've done wheelchair basketball locally in Galway. We've done Voices for Down Syndrome. We've done stuff that has been close to ourselves. So this year it just seemed like it would be the right thing to do, and it is. That we've met them. What they do is really good. The kids love it, and they go into the hospital. So we hope to raise a good bit of money for them this year.
Well, fair play to you, and that is, Galway is the place to be this weekend. If you fancy going along to the Kingfisher Gym at NUIG, as we mentioned, admission is free throughout the weekend. You're going to see some super basketball, over 40s, over 50s, and now indeed over 60s. And there's also going to be a couple of famous faces knocking around as well, which we might pop up on the website later for those of you to find out who's going to be along. But moving on to the Super League and the Men's Super League, thanks for that, Mike. And wishing you the best of luck with it this weekend.
If you might, just one thing. So just our sponsors, apologies, but our sponsors, the Galway City, Galway City Council came on board this year, which was great, because in fairness it wouldn't happen without them. So Galway City Council came on board, Kingfisher, we have Specsavers, Acorn Insurance, we have so many people that actually come and donate to us. It's all on our website, www.galwaymasters.com.
Perfect, which we will link to from Basketball Ireland.
So if you want to go in and look, it's great, and please support our sponsors, because without them it wouldn't happen.
Perfect. Well, thank you indeed to the sponsors who have gotten behind the Galway Masters and have made it such a fantastic event. It's been a couple of years running now, and it's really one of the marquee events of the Masters season even. But can I go on to the Super League?
No Twitter.
Go on to the
No
men's
Twitter.
Super League. But as said, we will put up all the information about the Masters on the website for you, and do indeed check out the Galway Masters website as well, where you can see all the sponsors and indeed everything, a schedule, I presume, of what's going on over the weekend. But moving to the men's Super League, Neil, I'm coming to you on this, and I'm going back to Tralee this weekend because it's a top of the table clash. Garvey's Tralee Warriors are welcoming UCD Marion in what's set to be a cracker.
Yeah, it's definitely the one to watch over the weekend. Top of the table clash. UCD are playing very well as well at the moment. Conor Meany top scorer there on the weekend. They match up very well with their size, with the new imports they brought in this year, and the lads know the Tralee bigs from last year anyway. So I think it'll be a very interesting game. See how they try to shut down Tralee. Anyway, he seems to be leading the way at the moment for Tralee. Yeah,
but on the flip side of that, Mike Garrow as well is a bit of a nightmare to guard for UCD though as well.
Definitely, yeah. Because he plays outside, but you can, if you put a smaller guy on him, you can bring him down into the post. So it'll be interesting to see who they put on him. I'd say maybe Donaghy might put him on Garrow and see how he does with a Gaelic man on him. Sure, be interesting to watch anyway.
Yeah, most definitely. So if you're heading to that game in Tralee, be sure to get there early. We say it every week, but more so in particular for this week, because that's set to be another sellout. Tip off in the complex is at 8 o'clock, and it's expected to be a great game with not just bragging rights up for stakes indeed. So moving over to yourselves, Aina, you have a huge game this weekend, not to put any pressure on you whatsoever, but UCC Demons are on the way up to you. You guys are unbeaten at home. I know you've only had 2 home games, but you've beaten DCU Saints and then caused what I thought was an upset. You probably didn't. You overcame Black Amber Temple Oak at home as well, but Demons are another beast altogether.
Yeah, definitely. They're a different team this year, compared to last. Like last year, we played them. We actually brought them to overtime last year in our place.
Yeah.
But with Colin back, with Colbert, they lost Kieran, but they still have and Kyle back now.
From injury.
Yeah, from injury. Yeah. It'll be very different this year to what we played last year, but hopefully we can keep that unbeaten record. I didn't know we were unbeaten at home.
Yeah, there you go. I'm full of useless
yeah.
information.
Yeah.
But Ian, obviously you were Super League last year as well. How do you see? Can you be impartial?
A little bit.
What do you think of that game, Aina and Demons? Like it's going to be a very interesting one.
It is. Mainly because Colbert, for one, I know he's got a nice mid-range game, but ain't actually have the size
Aina
to
are
compete
huge
with him.
this year.
They've got Galley, they've got Garney inside, and they can just swap inside. So he's always going to have someone the same height with him. But I'd say the problem is keeping Adrian and Colin shut down as well.
Yeah.
Like I know Kyle's gonna play well, but Tamron for Aina. He's playing good basketball. I think he's what's he have at the moment? I think it's about 18 points a game.
Yeah.
And then Aiden, so long as well. He's a matchup nightmare on the guards. But I'd say Colin is gonna be the one to look out for Aina anyway.
Yeah, definitely. I don't envy you the challenge.
Yeah, no.
Moving on to another game in the Men's Super League, Belfast Star are welcoming Black Amber Temple Oak up to the Methody as well in a repeat of the Hula Hoops National Cup clash a couple of weeks ago. That was down in Oblitz actually, with Temple Oak overcoming Star. But it's always a different kettle of fish when you go up to Methody. Star are going to be gunning for them, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I saw their National Cup game. Without having to travel, that's always maybe the lads' legs were a bit tired, but they look like Belfast have been playing some good basketball at the moment, and Temple Oak were they were struggling a bit, but after getting that win in the National Cup, they might be on a bit of a buzz at the moment, so they're probably going to look to bring that through with them and the confidence after meeting them last time. So Star will need to try and get one back anyway. That's what they'll be gunning for, definitely.
Yeah, and of course you have to look at Temple Oak. They've their tails up a bit. They won that huge game against Demons in overtime. They went on to win the Cup game the following weekend, and then had a double win last weekend against Cubs and Mary. So confidence quite high, but I'm sure Belfast Star will be raring to go. And other games across the weekend, Moycullen are welcoming Griffith College. Swords Thunder Moycullen with a win under their belts last weekend against Cubs, but Swords of course nursing that loss against DCU Saints. They had another game last weekend which they won, but DCU Saints, speaking of whom, are welcoming Cubs, and Pyreble Colester will go head to head with Mary. But moving into the Women's Super League, we've got 3 teams with a weekend off this weekend. NUIG Mystics, Mike, because I presume the Galway Masters.
Bit of a break.
No rest for the wicked. Courtyard Liffey Celtics after that very tough game against DCU last weekend, and Port Leash Panthers as well after a tough game against Ambassador UCC Glanmire. So the game that we're going to be looking at, first of all, is I might actually come to you, Ian, first, is Singleton Super Value Brunel. So Francis Sullivan's side are facing yourselves, IT Carlow Basketball. Always a tough place to play in Parochial Hall.
Always is. They know the dead spots on the floor, but I think they got most of them fixed. But no, yeah, they're always a tough place to go down to. Like their inside game at the moment is great. I think are they leading one of their players is leading the rebounds at the moment.
Yeah, I think Amy Waters.
Amy Waters, yeah.
Amy Waters, yeah.
Yeah, like they're playing some good basketball. I think they're around the same place as us in the table at the moment as well. But no, we'll have our homework done anyway. Yeah. And sure, we've got Maeve anyway, and she's leading the league in points at the moment as well. So she's a bit of a mismatch for most people. So we're slightly confident going down. But
them's are fighting words.
I'm gonna touch wood here, you know. So. But,
I'll ring Brianna Bay later and just be like, Mike, you've played against both of them, and obviously you had that cracking game against Brunel. Not to remind you of it, apologies, but a really, really good game. They are very strong this year. Yeah,
they're very strong. We went down by 1 last freak shot at this second to beat us by 1. It is a tough place to go down and play because they know it so well and they know the ring so well as well. They do shoot the ball very well inside, but Amy Waters is actually offensively a big threat for them too. So she releases Brianna Bay, their American, who is tough. She's not that tall, but she plays an inside game. She plays a really tough inside game. So if you need to put somebody that's bigger and stronger, which is going to be, there's not too many players in the league that'll actually be the same size as her that'll be able to stop her on the post. She's actually got strong post moves. But Francis always does his job really well. So that's going to be a tough game. That's going to be a big decider game for
I
both.
think so. Yeah. It'll tell a lot in the league as well. Placement wise. But speaking of a big game as well, DCU Mercy and Ambassador UCC Glanmire. That's what I'm really looking forward to as well.
Yeah, that's going to be a banger of a game. That'll be a great game. That really is. We had Glanmire down in Galway.
You ran them very, very close.
We ran them close. I think they travelled. They have to travel to Dublin. Not taken away from what we did, but I thought that they were slightly sluggish. We actually did really well against them. But at patches, we failed to score. Our percentages didn't hit what they were. I looked at their percentages. Their percentages were like 60-something% in the third and fourth quarter of the shots they took. So they're very smart in the shots they take, and that's just what they have. They have that bit of experience between Clare and Grania, and they work so well off each other. And their American is stepping up to I think she's beginning to get to know the league and the way to play in the league as well, which is difficult for players when they come in initially because it is a different league, and a lot is expected. A lot of different stuff is expected.
Especially when you
players.
Walk into a team like Glanmire.
Exactly. So but DCU then, they're a serious team as well. A lot of youth, but a good mixture of youth and experience as well. Which is great because they can run the ball. They're tenacious. They play tough defense. And again, Mark is going to have both marks are going to be. They're going to have them well. They're going to be well suited up. They know exactly what they have to do going up.
And I think Aisling Sullivan at the point for DCU as well has been very key for them this year. Like she's just such a wise head. She reads the game so well. That's going to be an interesting matchup.
She's very strong at the point.
Yeah.
She's done really well for them.
Yeah.
Her turnover rate's very low, which is hugely important.
What you want.
Yeah. Absolutely. But they have matchups all over the floor. DCU can match up with Glanmire. So I think it'll go right down to the wire. I don't think it's going to be a really tough game, because if you look at the matchups that they have, each one of them have players that can match up individually with the other team.
And DCU's two Americans are fabulous.
Absolutely,
as well.
they're doing really well. You know, and then if you take the Americans out and you use the Irish players they're equal as well. They have such a young crew coming through. A lot of the 18s from last year, and a lot of girls that were there previously. So that's going to be a really good game. Yeah,
definitely one to watch on Sunday. And the other game of the weekend on Saturday, as part of a double header with their men's team, Pirable Colester are welcoming Max All WIT Wildcats to the IWA in Clontarf, which is going to be followed by Colester Mary men's game. But moving across to the men's Division 1, and we're going to start with the Clash of the Titans, which is going to be down in Neptune Stadium in Cork as Neptune welcome Keane Super Value Kilorglin in, and that's going to be a big decider. The only two unbeaten teams now in the league, and it's just going to be a great game. Kilorglin, though, are very big. Neptune, small and fast. It's going to be a very difficult one, really.
I can't wait to watch that game. I can't wait to see the result. Like Neptune, they've been recently, they've had a few close games, but like they've got Jer back as well, and he's probably helping that team to realise, we can still win these games. Like they've had some close ones, but I don't think Keane's Super Value, they haven't had many close games yet.
Not to the extent that Neptune have had.
Exactly. So Neptune have that bit of experience so far this season. It's gonna go down to the wire. Roy, he's one of the best players in the league at the moment. But as you said,
Dan for Kilorglin as well is super.
It's gonna be a great game.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to Cork for that game. If you're knocking around Neptune Stadium on Saturday evening, just going to double check that time, 7 o'clock tip off there. But also, you guys are at home, am I right?
Yeah.
And you're welcoming Elks.
Yeah, welcoming Elks down there.
That's going to be a very close game, actually, I think.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like Luke Eddy up in Belfast, he's playing some great basketball at the moment. Like we got a sneak preview of them in our pre-season tournament, so we know who they have. Haven't they've had some good wins as well. Like they're doing quite well, so it's going to be a close game.
And Jimmy for you guys has exploded recently as well.
Jimmy's playing great basketball.
Yeah,
like he adapted quite quickly over here. He's just shooting so well.
He's so nice to watch.
Yeah. Sometimes I just stop on the court and I just watch. You know, I'm just like, you do your thing.
Not like when Tim Stewart's dunking over your head.
I didn't want to, you know. I didn't want to welcome him to the league, you know, if I could.
Well, that's said to be a good game in Carlow, and Dublin Lions finally welcoming Niall McDermott's LYT Donegal. A bit of a trip for Donegal, but Dublin Lions will be hoping that they can get a win. Yeah, they're looking really for their first win.
They're looking for a win, like they need to get it. Like they know who's coming down. They know Chaz. I'm sure everyone at this stage in the league knows who Chaz is, so he's the player. But Lions, they've got a bit of depth in their team. I know it's their second season in the National League, but they'll be good. Like they've got Igor, he's playing great at the moment.
Yeah,
I think he's almost a double a game. He's so strong. I think they had one or two injuries for their last game as well. So
and Hillary is so athletic.
Exactly.
He's great to watch.
Yeah, phenomenal he is.
Yeah.
But that'll be a close game, I'd say.
Yeah.
If I was Lions, you know, they'd be looking to shut down Chaz. That's number one goal against them anyway.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying to Rob White out there earlier today. And speaking of Dublin Lions, I was out there because Silas Sunday is heading to the United States of America. We're going to have an interview with him up on the website in a couple of days' time. But he's 14 years of age and he's heading over to the States, over to Max's, the same school as Max actually, who's over there already. So we wish him the best of luck with that. That's start of a big adventure for him at the age of 14. He was, of course, in around the Ireland under-15 development squad this year. Played a great tournament down in Galway actually earlier on in the year with Mike Lynch's side. So we wish Silas the very best of luck, and well done to Dublin Lions on another one gone stateside. But just a couple of the other games around the weekend. Father Matthews, coming in off that huge win against Ballincollig, will be welcoming Paris, Texas Kilkenny Sligo All-Stars will be welcoming Ballincollig in what's set to be a very tough game for them, and Scots Lakers St Paul's Killarney will be at home to Titans. But looking at the Women's Division 1, we actually have a new competition this year in the Women's Division 1. It's the Women's Division 1 Champions Trophy, and that's going to kick off this weekend with the round of quarter-finals. And the first quarter-final that we're going to look at, Mike, I'm going to come to you. UL Huskies, as we mentioned, one of the very, very experienced teams in the league, have obviously a lot of silverware under their belts from the last 10 years as well, are welcoming Griffith College Swords Thunder in this quarter-final clash. That's going to be a very, very interesting game.
That's going to be a tough game. I would see Griffith coming through.
Ooh.
Yeah, I would see Griffith coming through. I just think that Griffith have that something different.
Je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, something like that. Is that French?
It is. I'm serenading you here, but yeah, they have that a little bit extra.
I think they have that bit extra. Not that Limerick have been doing really well. They have a good.
And Rachel's been huge.
Yeah, and she's been massive.
She was actually missing for the Hawks game as well.
Oh,
just
right.
a little.
Okay.
A little bit of flavour there, yeah.
But yeah, it will be a really good game. It'll be a tough game. Plus, it's in Limerick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to
it's
to
in
be.
the Pez.
Yeah. That's going to be difficult for Thunder travelling as well. That'll make it more difficult.
Yeah.
But it will be a tough game. Not taking away from Limerick in any way, but I just think that Thunder have that something this year. Do you know?
Oh, you've heard it here first, folks. Mike is
maybe
laying down the gauntlet for
maybe I shouldn't have
Swords.
said that.
There you go.
But
Well, yeah.
a very, very interesting other semi-final. They're all interesting, in fact. But Father Matthews, Niamh Dwyer and co are welcoming Meteors. Like, that's going to be a cracker.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough game. I would think that Father Matthews have too much for Meteors.
Okay.
I would think that they do. I think that they've got a bit of an impetus on the season so far. They're doing well,
Yeah.
and I think they'll bring that into the game. Whereas Meteors have had a start that they're not doing as well as I don't think they expected to do.
Yeah.
You know, now that doesn't say that they're not going to rally back and actually use this as a turnaround for themselves. But I think that going into it, Matthews have the advantage. I think they have on the games that they've played already. You
Yeah,
know?
there'll be definitely interesting results to see.
Yeah.
And of course it is a knockout, obviously it's
Yeah.
quarter final. But Ulster University Elks have a bye into the semi-final, and the other quarter final is Fab Plus Northwest are playing, I'm not going to be able to remember, am I? Yes, Marble City Hawks, but that game has actually been moved to the following weekend, so it's going to kick off on the 11th of November. Fab Plus having home advantage there, which is a big advantage as well when you're going up to the
Big
hills
distance,
of Donegal. Yes.
Yeah.
But that's all we have time for this week, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks a million to Neil, Mike and Ian for joining us on the show, and we will be back this time next week.